regards to like marriage, I think it's a very, very interesting topic, right? Because what happens with marriage is that there's some real things that will trip you up a little bit. Okay, so the first thing I would say, the practical thing for you to do is I would say that you should sit down and define in detail the kind of wife that you want. Okay. And I mean real detail. I mean, like, what color hair does she have? What color eyes does she have? How tall is she? Where did she study? What did she study? Like, I would actually go in massive detail about the exact type of wife I'm looking for. Does she wear hijab? Does she wear niqab? Does she like wear gloves? Does she not wear? Proper detail about what I want. The second thing I would advise is for you to create non-negotiable. So get very, very clear in your head about what is a non-negotiable. So for example, I might say one of my non-negotiables is that my wife must wear hijab. If there's any sister that comes to me that does not wear hijab, I will not accept that as a viable match. If you're not clear on your non-negotiables, then what happens is that you start like falling for anything and you're like confused and this and this. The third thing I would say is be very careful about marrying potential. What does that mean? That means that I want my wife to wear hijab, for example, right? And she doesn't wear hijab right now, and she's like, yeah, when I get married, I'll wear. That is like a potential issue. It might not be, by the way, but it could be, because that person is not doing something of their own accord. You're expecting them to change and do something different to what they're doing already. In that sense, sometimes with minor things, it can be fine, because everyone has to adapt. The husband will adapt, the wife will adapt. So for minor things, it's okay. But if there's a major thing that you're expecting someone to do that they're not doing right now, that might be a cause of friction. Another thing to remember is that there is a difference between what you desire and what you can put up with. Let's say that I am a very free type of person. I'm a free spirit, right? And I don't really do anything, strategic and all of that. I just go with the flow and I go with life like that. What happens is there's certain type of people who are like that, but what they're attracted to is the opposite. You know what? I really, really like her because she's so structured and she's so like, into time management and being on time and all that. And I'm not like that. I wish I was like that. I'm more free spirit. From a desire perspective, that sounds really good. I'm positive, she's negative, or I'm negative and she's positive. Positive, negative come together. Everything's great. That kind of mismatch seems very attractive. But when you get 2 years into the marriage and you're the free spirit who's like, you just want to like relax and do things at your own pace, and then your wife or your husband comes and goes, we're 7 minutes late, we have to be there within 3 minutes and 2 minutes, and you're like, whoa, like, this is not my style, this is not who I am. Be careful of what you actually want, and exactly what you can put up with and what you will kind of do and stuff. You need to ask yourself, what do you value more? So for example, let's say for me, a huge value is family. I want to marry someone who also values family. But you can't just go on what they say. You need to make sure that their version of Islam or their version of passion for family is the same as yours. Because I might say my value, a huge value of mine is family. And you're like, okay, great, me too. And we're like, oh yeah, we're perfect for each other. No, because my rule for family value might be I call my mum once every month. And your value for family might be, well, I have to see my mum every single day. Even though we both value family, we have like a mismatch of values. So it's not just about values, but it's the rules that fulfill those values that we need to kind of get clear on as well. The other thing I would say is that when it comes down to it and speaking to people and actually getting into the thick of it, I would actually not go, what do you think about family? And they go, oh, I really care about my family and family is so important to me. I would treat it like a job interview, yeah? So I would be like, okay, how many times have you sat down to have dinner with your family in the last 7 days? Because those kind of questions, they're very different to how would you like to have dinner with your family every day? Oh, I'd love to. I would love to have. Okay, how many times have you sat down and had dinner with your family in the last 7 days? Never. In the last 14 days? Not. 28 days? No. This is a bit different to how I thought it was. And understand what their life is like. I would look at their environment. I would look at the kind of thing that they kind of brought up in. What are their parents like? And all these kind of things, okay? I'm just giving you like loads of different tips and advice. One of the big advice I have to give you, because you are a man, because you're a guy, right? Two things I would say to guys. One, get clear that you actually want to get married. The amount of brothers who say to me that they want to get married, but deep down they don't want to get married. It seems like an oxymoron. People want to get married, but they're not willing to do commitment. I would say in your mind, in your soul, in your body, get very, very clear and committed to being married, and make sure your heart, soul, body, everything is in it. The second thing I would say to guys is that, look, you need to realize that when it comes to physical beauty, for guys, it's very, very important. For you to be attracted to your wife and for you to find your wife beautiful and all that kind of stuff is really, really important, right? We know that as guys. Be very, very careful what attractiveness means to you. For example, found the perfect wife, but she was just a little bit too short. Of course, like, I might want a wife who's like my height, and I get that, I understand that, but she's just a little bit short, or a little bit thin, or a little bit fat, or whatever it is, a little bit different you want, but she ticks all the boxes. Don't be of that attitude of, oh, I find something better, I'll do this and that. And realize that when people have beautiful akhlaq, you will find that they will be very beautiful, even if they're not that attractive. And when someone's really attractive, they've got horrible akhlaq, they will be very ugly to you, even if they're attractive. I'm going to give you 2 more points. Yeah. First thing I would say to you is, I believe when it comes to marriage, the level of akhlaq someone has is maybe even more important than their religiosity. Depending upon how it is, a lot of the time, a good Muslim woman with a good akhlaq will kind of adapt towards her husband. The second thing I would say is, make a list of things that you cannot stand, that you will not accept. So for example, you might say, I cannot stand someone who's arrogant. Like, I will put up with everything except arrogance, for example. I'll put up with everything except someone who's not willing to do the dishes. Or I'll put up with anything except someone who's not willing to clean the toilets. Like, get clear on what you're not willing to put up with, because all the nice things, everyone likes nice things. If you have someone who's going to give you lots of gifts, there's no issue. If you've got someone who's going to be really good to you, there's no issue. The problem is the bad things, the things that you can't put up with. So once you get clear on the things that you don't want, as well as the things that you want, it starts to paint a good kind of picture of what you want.